Jim Crow didn't die. It just traded the white hood for a suit and uses the law as a weapon. Tonight, we expose the top 5 worst states for black folk in 2025. State number 1, Mississippi, the architect of despair. Mississippi's struggle is no accident. It's the direct consequence of a state that refused to dismantle the machinery of the plantation. When the Civil War ended, the white landowning class didn't lose power. They recalibrated it. Black codes were drafted overnight, choking the economic freedom of newly emancipated people before it could even take root. That betrayal evolved into sharecropping and convict leasing, systems of quiet brutality designed to keep black labor bound to the land, indebted, and controlled. The plantation didn't die. It slipped into the system and kept breathing. Modern Mississippi simply rebranded this architecture. The extreme economic suppression is an engineered outcome, meticulously designed through generations of disinvestment in majority black areas. This is why the state consistently ranks at the bottom for black health, wealth, and education outcomes. When a state refuses to properly fund infrastructure, allowing essential services like clean water systems to crumble in cities like Jackson, that is not incompetence. It is systemic violence. It is an active policy choice to deny the basic elements of a healthy life to a specific population. The official report revealing that 73% of black children in Mississippi were living in documented financial hardship is the statistical indictment of this system. This data proves they are not merely ignoring the problem, they are actively manufacturing a permanent underclass. The institutional betrayal of autonomy is the state's most brazen act. In 2023, state Republicans passed a bill to create a separate, unelected court system to preside over parts of Jackson, the black majority capital. A black-led city wins its elections, only to have its power seized and handed to unelected, mostly non-black officials. That is the scale of betrayal we're talking about. This isn't political maneuvering, it is a naked act of control. It sends one message to black communities: even when you win the vote, your self-governance can be revoked. This legislative violence is the modern form of the 19th century power structure reasserting itself. Updated, legalized, and carried out in broad daylight. State number 2, Alabama, the unburnt chains. Alabama loves to parade itself as the cradle of the civil rights movement, but that image is a mask hiding a far darker present. Beneath the slogans and monuments, the state still runs a machinery of control directly descended from the forced labor and convict leasing systems built after Reconstruction, a system that never truly released its grip. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Alabama essentially re-enslaved black men by convicting them of minor offenses and leasing their labor to private mines and companies. This horrific practice was documented as generating vast state and private wealth. Today, the state's mass incarceration apparatus fulfills the same economic and social control function. Black people make up only 28% of Alabama's residents, yet they account for a shocking 54% of its prison population. A black person in this state is nearly 3 times more likely to be incarcerated than a white person. This staggering disparity proves that the system's function is population control, generating profit and eliminating political capital. The institutional betrayal extends directly to the ballot box, the most sacred site of black resistance. Alabama's political history is a continuous effort to nullify the black vote, from Jim Crow's literacy tests to the modern tool of racial gerrymandering. For years, the state meticulously drew district lines to pack black voters into a single congressional district while spreading the rest thin across the state. Even after the Supreme Court, in the Allen v. Milligan case, forced Alabama to create a second, fairer congressional district in 2023, the local political leadership fought back. They pushed a new law that would allow the state to throw out election results and redo primaries if the Supreme Court even weakens the Voting Rights Act. This is a clear attempt at political counterinsurgency, proving the state's political architecture is designed to make black citizens perpetually powerless. The fight for the vote is still an ongoing conflict. State number 3, Texas, the SUNBELT trap. Texas sells the world a dream of limitless prosperity, but that dream is built on a buried truth. Behind the billboards of opportunity and the myth of endless growth lies a brutal architecture of inequity, crafted to keep its black residents locked in place while the state celebrates its own success. This is the great Texas lie, that its boom belongs to everyone, when in reality, its prosperity rises from a foundation that was never meant to include us, and still doesn't. The reality is the continuation of a system established during Reconstruction, where anti-black violence and economic terrorism were used to prevent black land ownership and stifle entrepreneurship. This legacy persists through modern discriminatory lending practices and corporate gentrification that actively block the flow of capital into black communities. The severe wage inequality ensures that black residents remain at the bottom of the economic hierarchy, making the promise of Texas a bitter lie for the people who are essential to its function. Beneath the veneer of economic progress, the state harbors a deep institutional tolerance for hate. Texas is part of a current sweeping the South, where documented anti-black hate crime incidents are a terrifying and accepted reality. The atmosphere of legalized aggression, coupled with permissive gun laws and the aggressive defense of Confederate iconography, fosters a constant state of hypervigilance for black residents. Texas's political environment actively suppresses accurate black history in schools and validates rhetoric that emboldens extremist groups, fueling an undeniable rise in documented violence. The state system prioritizes the protection of property and the enforcement of social control over the actual safety and well-being of its black citizens. New growth only serves to mask an anti-black system that still operates with quiet impunity. State number 4, California, the progressive betrayal. One of the most dangerous lies in America is the fantasy of the progressive haven. California, so proud of its liberal image, operates one of the most advanced, tightly engineered systems of racial control in the country, hidden beneath a polished veneer of tolerance and reform. The roots of this system trace back to the mid-20th century, where post-war expansion and the promise of suburban life were built on restrictive covenants and redlining, federal policies that guaranteed black exclusion from the economic boom. This segregation was then enforced by aggressive policing. Today, the state's own official data is the documentary evidence that proves this pattern of control persists. Before we continue this devastating expose of the state's actively suppressing black life, if you believe these hidden histories and these ongoing betrayals need to be told, please subscribe to Black Stories Untold. We are fighting the systematic erasure of our narratives with every single video. Hit that bell button and help us spread awareness of the truth they don't want you to know. Now, back to the video. Black residents are just 5.4% of California's population, and still they become the targets in 12.5% of all police stops. That is a documented, staggering disparity that proves police are actively targeting black citizens. This is a systematic profiling operation exposed by the state's own internal reports. The most crucial detail proving the institutional betrayal is what the police don't find. The official report revealed that when police searched black, Latino, and indigenous people, they were less likely to find contraband compared to when they searched white people. This is the smoking gun. The stops are not about crime detection. They are about harassment, intimidation, and the enforcement of a social hierarchy. The purpose of the stop is the stop itself, to assert dominance, disrupt life, and enforce the psychological trauma of constant surveillance. The economic tragedy unfolding here is the final act of the conspiracy. Black residents are just 7% of the state, and they carry more than a quarter of the entire homeless population, a number that reveals the precision of the system designed to break them. This is not a coincidence. This is the direct, logical outcome of decades of anti-black economic policy, hyper-gentrification that drove people out, and over-policing that created constant economic instability. The system uses police to harass and displace black communities, making them economically unstable. and then brands their ensuing homelessness as a personal failure. California proves that racism wears a suit and smiles for the camera. State number 5, Maryland, the hidden danger zone. Maryland, a crucial border state, never truly resolved the internal conflict between North and South. It remains a divided territory, stuck between Northern tolerance and Southern systemic racism. This is the historical lie of neutrality. The truth is that Maryland harbors a quiet, institutional danger that is hard to pin down, but devastatingly effective. The state is counted among the top states for hate crime incidents targeting Black residents. The threat hides behind the veneer of institutional professionalism in its cities. Baltimore, the state's largest city, ranks among the top cities in the nation for police misconduct payouts. These are not minor legal fees. They are documented financial proof that the city's police force operates with systemic abuse, often rooted in racial profiling. This is the government financially covering up for the violence it sponsors. The closest deception is the one next to power. Maryland's proximity to Washington, D.C. paints a picture of possibility, but beneath that veneer, the data exposes something harsher. Black communities are still being deliberately excluded. The Black median household income gap remains severe compared to white residents. The structural inequity ensures that while Black people staff the offices and fuel the culture, they are perpetually excluded from the highest levels of wealth and safety. The state's institutions are rigged to maintain a hierarchy that benefits the few at the expense of the many. Even in the shadow of the Capitol, the system still hunts its Black citizens. The truth is now undeniable. The 5 states we have detailed, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, California, and Maryland, are not regional anomalies. They are the concentrated proof that the American system relies on the systematic devaluation of Black property, Black labor, and Black life to sustain its power. The old systems of racial control were not destroyed. They were merely encrypted into new systems of control. This knowledge is not a burden. It is the document they tried to burn. You have the map, you know the zones, and you have the statistics. This is the awareness that leads to survival. The power of this knowledge is the same power held by the Black Seminoles, whose story we detailed in a previous episode. They were a community that refused to be categorized, refused to be ruled, and fought tooth and nail against 2 different governments to maintain their freedom in Florida and Mexico. They knew the map to survival meant rejecting the official narrative and building their own reality. Knowing the map is how we stay safe. Awareness is survival, and survival has always been our greatest act of rebellion. We have laid out the evidence. Now we demand accountability. Comment below and tell us what city you are in and what documented system of racial betrayal you see at work.